Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Anything Wrestling Podcast. Thank you once again for joining us. We are back here today. Unfortunately, we are missing Dan the Man, so it's not going to be a triple threat. We got a one-on-one match today. No disqualification. A little bit more of a gimmicky episode than anything. It is the Shant.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is the Commish. And I will be the advocate of this podcast, along with the crazy ride we're about to go on. Let's just break down first our sponsors, because they got to get credit. This episode is brought to you in part by 7-Eleven.
You know, if I can take 7-Eleven, bump up those numbers just a little bit, what do I get?
I think you get something and again a 9.
9. Okay. And then?
Maybe 2 more.
Did I just hear $9.99? That is right. You can catch all your favorite WWE programming only on the WWE Network for a non-negotiable but very reasonable price of only $9.99.
$9.99.
It's not $10.
It's not $1,000, and it's also not $1 million.
But $9.99. So we like to experiment on the Anything Wrestling Podcast, and we thought we'd throw a little bit of a, trivia game. What do you want to call it?
I kind of call it more along the lines of like a guess who.
A guess who? Okay.
Type of a game.
So you want to explain to the audience what we got planned?
So we thought of this because of our previous episode of like where talent is going lately. But I threw in a little twist about the past, since we live in our nostalgia and enjoy everything that's gone on always in the WWE or the WWF or WCW
Wrestling
as well. So I call this push or no push. Now, everyone that isn't a mark in wrestling or doesn't know the terminology, a push is the eventual decision of the company that, hey, it's your turn to shine. Do you deserve it? And can you prove to us that you deserve it?
Giving them the spotlight, if you will.
And the way I kind of did this is that I told the Shant to write down 3 deserving names currently that deserve a push. And to also write down 3 names of the past that well earned their push.
Well,
or could have gotten a push.
And didn't.
And the thing is, we didn't tell each other what we wrote.
So it's going to be completely realistic. Nothing planned here.
It's nothing fabricated. It's not in story.
It's ad lib, and we're just going to go with it.
So we haven't seen each other's lists yet. So what I propose first is we see the names that deserve it currently, since we are in the modern era. So let's see.
Do you want to do mine first?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna see the names he wrote down. Oh my God, it's almost. I think it's almost similar to mine. Going from bottom up, at number 3, Braun Strowman. Number 2, Ruby Riott. And number 1, as he's been advocating for almost a year now, Cesaro. Let's start with Braun, the Monster Among Men.
Yeah.
The modern day beast.
Yep.
He's not the beast incarnate to Brock Lesnar, but still. I think I can guess why you feel like he deserves a push.
Go ahead.
He's a big guy. He's Vince's ideal superstar in his molding and shape. The guy has been screwed over so much as far as getting a push. It seemed like last year would have been the right time to pull the trigger on him with all the stuff he went through from the beginning towards the end of the year. I can agree that he should have been favored by now. Yet last year would have been the perfect time to do it.
Not only is it the incorporation of him being a big guy, but it's someone who's an ambassador, who's got a great personality. I see in some of the interviews, he's so gentle, he's down to earth. You know, he doesn't walk around thinking that he owns the place. Secondly, very athletic. First of all, his speed is insane because you see him sometimes running outside of the ring and catching up to his opponent, who's
He's
like
a big guy.
he's a big guy and he's very athletic. Very entertaining. Anything that he does is absolutely believable and you can buy into it. I just hope that it doesn't come to a point where Braun feels like he's being screwed over enough times where he's got to leave the company, which has been one of WWE's main concerns as of recent, is who's going to leave next.
And this is the reason why we kind of did this, because it's like we're writing down names of the people who we think deserve this push, but it's like you're kind of burying them because you think, oh, they're not really that worthy of it. And it's like, come on, man. Like,
The worst part is that, see, there are superstars right now out there who are deserving and don't get the opportunity. The sucky part is that Braun gets the opportunity and then somehow is completely screwed out of it. And I don't know if Royal Rumble this year was a change of mind of, hey, we don't want to screw this guy over again. We don't want him to be less credible. Take him out of the title picture and put Finn in there. Because if you were just going to put him in there just to get, once again, buried by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 F5s, you're basically doing the same thing on loop over and over again.
If you think about it, Braun is a guy who can take an F5 and just like, okay, that's it. That's all you got. Come at me. But it's like, no, like, is that many F5s necessary on a guy like this? No. Is it that this guy should just be able to do like the running power slam and just take him out? Yes.
So, I mean, just seeing how he's been booked so far in 2019 and
It's all
2018,
gimmick.
it's all gimmick. It's all, we nudge you, we push you back.
One
Nudge.
step forward, two back.
Exactly.
Not 2 and 1, 1 and 2.
Yep.
All right, number 2, Ruby Riott. I've been the advocate for her. I've wanted her to be a main eventer. I've even fucking found a way to agree with Michael Cole. And Michael Cole's an idiot sometimes. God, granted, he's still the stooge of the night for Evolution for what he did, being on his phone. Thank you. But, again, she's the leader of a group. The group is named after her. She stands out as the toughest one in the group. Granted, she's not the biggest. Like,
She doesn't have to be.
No, but she still is like, hey, I'm the one who runs this game.
Yep.
I'm the one who's ready. And I think you feel like she deserves a push because of that, but you feel like they don't trust her.
She's very, very exceptional. Her moveset is awesome. Her personality is awesome. Her look is actually very interesting. We are fresh off of Elimination Chamber. And if I could describe Ronda versus Ruby in one word, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Not necessary, not needed, completely inappropriate.
She got the same time in the match as Lacey Evans got to walk out and walk out.
It completely sucks that you don't recognize how exceptional she is. And I've said it before, not only her, I know we've discredited Riot Squad before, but going back to Evolution last year, the pay-per-view, Riot Squad, they got time. They actually got the time to go out there and have a match, and they did. But you proved to me that no, when allotted proper amount of time, you can put on a show, and that's respectable.
And you've done it in a sense where it's like, you're not a gimmick. You're not, we're going to be your laugh track. You've done it in a sense where no, we're here to compete. We're here to be superstars. Like, you're not going to bury us.
Yeah. So again, we talk about people leaving. Hideo hit the door. Dean Ambrose is almost there. It would be a shame.
Revival was almost there.
Even though we can kind of see what they're trying to do, putting the tag belts on them. Mm-hmm. But I would say if you got any brain cells left, you will book Ruby correctly, and you will make sure that she gets her credit. And I think she even called out everybody on social media where she's like, I've been overlooked for too long.
You count out.
Yeah.
You count us out a lot.
And I'm going to show you why I belong. And not a Ronda thing, more of a booking thing. They give her a minute and 30 seconds. Completely
So
disgusting.
Horrible.
Disgusting completely.
Okay. And then we got at the top of the list Cesaro. This one hits him personally because I feel like this is a guy who has won a lot, is a really strong competitor, has the build of a champion, kind of the image Vince would like. Had some great matches with Sheamus, but then it's like, no, let's stick you two together. Not as rivals, but as like partners. And then all of a sudden, we get the Bar. A good tag team.
Yes.
They've gotten a good push out of it.
Yes.
But not the push you wanted. Because you feel at Royal Rumble, he could have been that guy that like, hey, I can eliminate as many of you in here. I can last almost up to an hour in here. And I can go to WrestleMania.
And we're not just talking about this year's Rumble. I've been advocating for Cesaro since the 2017 Royal Rumble. We talked about this. The fact that Vince goes on the network for only $9.99 and is on the Stone Cold podcast and goes, Cesaro, he hasn't reached that pinnacle yet. He has to get the crowd over first. Are you listening? You don't even have to listen. Can you see? Do you need glasses? Cesaro's section signs all over the crowd before Cesaro got into the bar. You say get over with the audience, that's all you have to do?
He's beyond over.
He is beyond over. And you still slap him in tag teams, and you still slap him. I mean, even Taz has gone on to review SmackDown as of recent, and he's like, you're throwing turkey at this guy. You have him in laughable segments where he's getting, hit in the face with pie. This guy's an athlete. Pound for pound strongest guy? Yeah, most likely. Someone who can have a match if given the proper amount of time. And this is what you do? You make him a laughingstock for your company?
It's bad.
It's really bad. I'm not talking about Intercontinental title. I'm not talking about US title. I'm talking pull the trigger. If you know what's good for you, pull that damn trigger.
Your turn to see mine. The top.
Huh. Okay.
So what's number 3?
Number 3, and this is going to be interesting. Dean Ambrose.
The guy's been there for a while. He's been loyal.
Yep.
He got the short end of the stick of the push between those 3.
Yep.
In the Shield.
Yep.
He's been put in situations where he can main event. He's been put in situations against competitors that have been in main event status already. And at one point, it's like they're trusting him. It's good to go. No, retract back a little bit.
Braun Strowman treatment.
Yep. Why? Why him? The guy is so pissed. He's ready to leave. And is he pulling gimmicks on Raw? Is he being honest? Or is he Jonathan? Are we not seeing Dean anymore? You know?
Yeah.
He got called out by Stone Cold Steve Austin himself about one of his matches. When you have someone that big call you out, the guy is paying attention to you.
Yeah.
The world is paying attention to you. Why the fuck isn't Vince McMahon paying attention to you? Like, did you do something to piss him off, or is it that Vince, you're an idiot and you still need convincing? The guy has done more than enough to convince you that he is ready.
And this was very ironic. If you guys like, you can go ahead and listen to our Dean Ambrose episode that we did probably about 3 episodes back. I didn't notice until you went on an anonymous website, Wikipedia, and you called out all his accomplishments. And I failed to realize, wow, this guy has won every title on the active roster. He's a Triple Crown champion, Money in the Bank winner. He's been in one of the hottest stables in the last decade. He's done all that, yet
less than 6 years to do all
Less
that.
than 6 years to do all that. Yet, it's very forgettable. Why?
Is it booking? Is it
I would say
creative
it's
control?
I would say it's booking and creative control, definitely. The guy was in the pre-show for WrestleMania 33 as Intercontinental Champion. That's when you're doing that, it's I don't know what the hell is going through your mind. Shouldn't come as a shock to you that this guy's walking out. Or is intending on walking out.
That's why he's up there at number 3.
Number 2, let's get your take on this. Ruby Riott.
Well, technically, it's your take. I gave you my take why you put it.
That is true. Man, Ruby. Like I said, colorful personality, great gimmick, great moveset.
She's a fighter.
There's not one thing that I can say. She has everything but that. She's someone where I can say, even as a heel, she can be the face of the division.
She has the it factor.
Yeah.
She has it. Why not push it? Why not get her to be up there? Like, come on. Like, there has to be something going on where it's like, we don't really trust you. And it's like, come on, man. Really? Like, this is getting ridiculous.
And especially Elimination Chamber, to me, was like the final nail in the coffin of like, oh, you thought you were getting buried before?
Now we're really going to do it. And it makes me wonder, like, is it because of what you did on social media? Or is it because you're pissed? Like, what is it that you all of a sudden got put out that quick? And then, you'll get your opportunity tomorrow night on Raw.
It's like, why couldn't we just do that on the pay-per-view?
Yeah. Or why couldn't we give it to you next month? Like, build more into the two of you having a rivalry.
And especially now that you just introduced tag team championships, it's like, okay, you can keep 4 women busy with that. Now we can have a singles title push.
Like, Ruby doesn't have to forget about her friends.
No,
But she
doesn't.
can focus on something that she wants more than anything. And she can let her friends focus on what they want. Because if you didn't see Elimination Chamber, they were focused. They wanted those 2 belts just as bad as every other woman in that Elimination Chamber match wanted it.
I forget what celebrity it was, but right before the show, they're like, please, God, let Ruby walk out as women's champion and let Riot Squad walk out as tag team champions. You have celebrities outside of WWE pushing and advocating for these women. I'm not saying that just because one person says, hey, give them a push, that you just give them a push. Mm-hmm. But the problem is it's not one person and it's not just anybody.
It's a celebrity that's a fan.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, we can talk for ages about that. But number 1, very, very interesting. R-Truth.
Yep.
What's up?
What's up?
Stand up and say what's up.
What's up?
What's up?
Here's what's up. He's been in the industry for years. He started as a gimmick in the WWE as K-Quick, as a tag-along sidekick to
Road Dogg.
Road Dogg. But he was impressive. He left immediately, did his own thing, went to TNA. He won the freaking NWA championship. That's like the second highest championship in wrestling accolades. That proves you can be a champion. And there's not that many African American wrestlers that ever get that belt. Or the WWE championship belt. To get that, the NWA belt, that's the second closest company being as big as the WWE. Hell, it's known way back in the WWF days. The Worldwide Wrestling Federation days. And he won that. You bring him back in, 2008, 2010, I think?
2008, I believe, yeah.
He was doing good. 2 years later, he becomes the U.S. champion. Doesn't win a belt for over 8 years. Been given the stupidest gimmick ever of being a psychotic sociopath.
Call me crazy, and we're going to discuss this on one of our future episodes. I think that 2011 run was actually pretty entertaining, especially to the point where he was teaming up with The Miz and they became like this really dangerous group. Well, where they'll come in, they'll
The Miz
open,
Truth?
yeah. What is it? Awesome Truth.
Yeah, awesome.
And they were just
They
utter
were good.
chaos, and they were good and they were believable.
But do you see where the skill set was there with R-Truth? He gave The Miz a bigger push than he was already getting.
Yeah.
And it's like, you wait this long and you put the U.S. belt on him. Don't get me wrong. He's been defending it. Cool. But it's like, don't bury him. Don't put him out like that. Don't give him the Shinsuke treatment with that belt. Like, he's a champion, but we don't have to see him as much. Like, come on. The guy wants to wrestle. The guy wants to compete.
Is he U.S. champion now?
Yes.
Okay.
He defended it on...
I'm sorry.
live
See,
events.
that's how forgettable it is.
And that's how bad that is. I feel like this guy deserves a run of his own.
He's got that comedic edge, which works and which is fine. But if he can tune in that serious R-Truth, I think you can see something in there.
Yeah.
So, that's our first three.
Next three are interesting. So, the next three are two that got a push and deserved it back in the Attitude/Ruthless Aggression era. And one, I wrote mine that didn't deserve it.
Okay.
Sean wrote his were...
Did deserve it,
but didn't get
it.
I'm going to do... Or you know what? Do mine.
I'll do yours first. Here we go.
Do it from the top down.
Huh. Okay. So, starting at number 3, we got...
Oh, bottom up. Okay.
We got Ric Flair from 2001 to 2008. So Ric Flair, who didn't get a push.
No, didn't deserve it.
Didn't deserve it.
This is why. Ric Flair comes back to WWE. Buys the whatever...
The consortium.
Yeah, as the consortium. He's a partial owner now, 50%, whatever. Yeah. And then Vince beats him for his ownership, gets it all back. Flair doesn't leave. Yeah, he's doing single stuff on his own. Yes, he did innovate Evolution, one of the next greatest teams ever built, with, Batista, Randy, himself, and Hunter. Then goes back on his own. Sometimes we get face Flair, and then sometimes we get the wheeling, dealing, limousine riding, jet flying,
Low blowing, eye raking,
son of a
ball
bitch,
grabbing. Yeah.
Ric Flair. And it's like, we've seen this before. It's like WCW again. Well, the thing is, it's not as flashy as it was when he was in WCW.
Well, you got to also keep in mind, age was kind of catching up with him at that time.
And drugs. And a lot of, issues.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it because of how it ended, too. The one person that had to end it for him.
And being your favorite WWE superstar.
Yes. And on top of that, his run in TNA after the fact. It's like
after that retirement.
You said you were done.
Where Taker came out. Where he never comes out, but he came out.
For you. And then you go to TNA. Like, you killed your own career. Don't get me wrong. You will still always be seen as one of the greatest champions ever. I think the only 16-time champion.
He's actually a 21 time, but okay.
But no, that's how I see it too. 21. Including the NWA belt, because I think he held it.
Yeah.
But it's like, you were decent in your second run in the WWE, but not as great. And I think your run would have been better if you played manager. Only to Triple H. Or only to Evolution.
Well, little inside story is that around that time, right before Evolution formed, Triple H says that Ric Flair had just lost all confidence in himself. had lost who he was, what he was, and Triple H was like, dude, like, pick yourself back up. Like, you're Ric Flair, you know? So, I think that, yes, you know, I think back to the GM Ric Flair, I'm like, he made that work really well. I go back, sometimes I see the backstage segments that he had with Austin and, you know, Bradshaw and the NWO. I'm like, Flair fits in this role actually really well.
Mm-hmm.
As a manager, too, sometimes Triple H would be losing a match and he would give him a low blow or rake the eyes or toss Triple H an object, and Triple H would pick up the win. You know, still, you know, dirtiest player in the game. Coming back as a competitor, I didn't have a problem with it. I think that, you know, eventually he had to retire just because.
Time caught up.
Yeah. He says he can still go, and that's fine, but, you know, seeing all the health issues that he's had over the last couple of years, I would say he's better off, you know, just making casual
enjoy
appearances. Yeah. Don't pull a Kurt Angle where you bring the guy back and then within 2 minutes he's gassed, you know. Moving on to number 2, Eddie Guerrero.
Well-deserved push. If he didn't have the same issues with drugs and was still alive to this day, his push would be well-deserved and well-earned because, dude, the guy was exceptional. He was amazing. He had chemistry with anyone he worked with. He never had a problem with you, and if he did, he would call you out right on the spot. He was life. He was what you wanted in an entertainer. Whether he was a heel, and he was a great heel.
Oh, that Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero feud
That was one
awesome.
of my favorite rivalries. Him as a face too, like he can pull it off. Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie, you know, as a face, he was lovable. Even when he was a heel, it's like you didn't want to hate him because he was so lovable.
But he knew how to like work it. He knew how to be a good heel.
And he was one of the prominent faces of SmackDown when it was still in the early millennium. A lot of people, you know, if you ask them, who would you put in your cover poster for SmackDown at those times? Eddie Guerrero would always have a segment or a match or an interview or something where it's like he would either make you laugh, he would make you feel something. Once again, another case of a, you know, old school wrestler who knows, you know.
How to adapt.
Yep.
And my number 1?
Number 1, can't say this is much of a shocker, Shawn Michaels from 2002 to 2010, asterisk 2018.
Yeah. So the reason why there's that, I don't know if you can probably read my mind about it, but I want to see if you can.
About him
Shawn,
getting a push?
In that time, not from the beginning of his career as a rocker till 98 against Austin.
I think, yes, Shawn needed to have that run just because this was a different Shawn Michaels. This was a born-again Christian Shawn Michaels. This wasn't the asshole Shawn Michaels. Because if Shawn just stopped back in 98, everybody would have still thought, what an
Montreal Screwjob.
What an asshole. Yeah.
I don't want to work with this guy ever
Screw to
again.
Brett. No, forget it. No.
Drug addict.
That druggie? Pfft. What are you kidding? I will say this, though. Very much a shame that his last title that he won was in 02. I wish that he got one more title run. I would say in 07, 08.
I think that would have been the perfect time to pull the trigger on him.
And I'm specifically talking about when he went up against John Cena at Mania.
It's one of the matches that people still remember to this day of his as far as that time in his career.
Yeah.
My thing with Shawn is like, okay, yeah, you had seen him from 98 to 2002 early as like, yeah, he's an ambassador, he's a commissioner, blah, blah,
Referee.
blah.
Yeah.
Whatever. But when he was sanctioned and cleared to go again, if you notice, the person that helped him with that push was Triple H.
Triple H. Originally supposed to be a one-off.
Yeah. But they made it last for years, and that's something too that's not in the WWE anymore. Great storytelling. you made this last so long, and like, yeah, it was on and off, but it was still there. And it's like, you got to see a more focused Shawn Michaels, a more focused, like, I don't have to be the main event guy anymore. I can put people over.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to be the main event. I'm still the icon. I'm still Mr. WrestleMania. And he gave 3, if not 4, memorable WrestleMania matches. 2 with The Undertaker, 1 with John Cena, and of course my favorite against Vince and Shane. Or Vince and Shane versus him and God. Granted, the gimmick was what it was, but you can't say you can't remember it. Like, that's what he does.
Honest question now.
Yeah.
If we can be serious for a minute, and I guess I'm taking a survey.
Hey, you.
Shawn being your favorite wrestler.
Yes. I'll be honest.
Let's just say 98, his match against Steve Austin to date was his final match.
Okay.
That run from 02 to 2010 never happened.
Okay.
How would you feel about Shawn Michaels? Let's say if you heard, yeah, he was born again, cool, but he never stepped inside the ring. He never buried the hatchet with Bret Hart. He never put over talent. That run never happened. How would you feel about, would it still be, yeah, Shawn Michaels, or would it be, Shawn Michaels, yeah, but...
I would still think he's still the same Shawn Michaels of that era. That he's still an a-hole. He cares only about himself.
Okay.
And it's only about him. He wouldn't do much to save his career. His career would stay jaded.
Yeah.
At that point. Like, granted, he was willing to put Austin over, but he wasn't able to ever apologize to Bret. He was never able to put other people over that deserved it.
Or he didn't want to.
Exactly. Like, granted, in the beginning of the O2 run, you kind of saw it where it's like, oh, I don't answer to anybody. No one tells me what to do. You still see, like, he's trying. He's trying to be, like, someone different.
Yeah.
But if it was at that point, no. I wouldn't be as big a fan of his. I wouldn't see him as my number 1 favorite. I would see him as, like, a guy who...
Childhood hero.
Yeah, that's it. I would have a different hero now. Or I would be in favor of a different wrestler, and thank God it's not John Cena. But that was my list.
Well, with that, we now move on to my list.
Okay, I can see why number 3 is on here. And I can actually... Okay, so his number 3 in the Attitude Era was Kane. A guy who deserved a better push, got a push, but deserved more out of it. Am I right?
Absolutely. Kane, the fact that it's 2019, this guy still hasn't won a Royal Rumble is shocking to me.
He is a Triple Crown champion. I think he's a Grand Slam champion.
Never main evented Mania.
Well deserving of it.
Very well deserving of it. I didn't have a problem with the mask coming off in 03 just because I felt like you still booked him as... They had him come out in shackles. And that gave you the illusion, holy shit.
Like, he's still a demon.
He's dangerous. Don't be around this guy.
He's still evil.
And then...
Well, no, okay. Here's the thing what I see about Kane. What I can remember, and I'm still, like, catching up on, is that I saw when he got unmasked. And I had the same holy shit reaction. But then when he shaved the hair off, like, even though you can still see some...
Yeah.
But, like, he was maniacal. He still had the one contact. I was like, holy shit, he's still sticking to this. He's still crazy. He's still fucking got it.
Yeah.
And honestly, he could put on matches. He could still go at it with anyone. I was deathly surprised he never got a Royal Rumble win. That's the one thing he deserved out of everything in his entire career, to get a moment in WrestleMania, to get a main event moment. Yeah, he has WrestleMania moments. Everyone's gonna always remember fucking Pete Rose and the many times he beat the shit out of him. But it's like, no, I want to remember Kane as, oh, he defeated Stone Cold, or he defeated The Rock, or maybe, even though it's sensitive to you, maybe he could have come that close to beating the streak, or maybe he beat John Cena, Batista, Orton for the main event for a belt. That would have been amazing to see, because it's like he had it.
Yeah.
And he always adapted in every era.
And that's what I can appreciate. Like the corporate Kane, I'm not really a fan of, but I'm like, okay, you have to change your image sometimes, whether that's desired or not desired by the fans. I truly believe Kane has one last run left in him. I don't care if it's a 2-month run. Let him go on this, rate of destruction, and remind everyone that he's Kane the monster, not Kane the jobber. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Number 2, The Rock. I get it, because that's like, I remember you telling me and always advocating it on the podcast. Your first real moment of seeing him was WrestleMania 17.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you see who this guy is. You see who he was in the past. Yeah, he started as Rocky Maivia, as a jobber, Intercontinental Champion, Nation Domination leader, becoming The Rock, obviously becoming the movie star, or adapting to finally being Dwayne Johnson.
Going Hollywood.
Yeah. But then still being humble and loyal to the WWE, even to this day. I think I say it because he still contributes to the company that made him as successful as he is.
And one thing that's so admirable about The Rock or Dwayne Johnson is that with all the success that he's gotten, he has never been cocky or egotistical.
His character was, for a brief instant.
That's the character. But talking about the person, Rock is such a humble guy, and the fact that with all the success, he hasn't screwed people over. He hasn't gotten into drugs. He hasn't,
like, he's maintained such a positive life for himself.
But talking about the performer, The Rock was just someone who they always say had the crowd in the palm of his hand. Could play a face, could play a heel, could be in a tag team, could be alone, and could still make it work. Everyone says that usually in every single era, there's one superstar that's going to get that mega push. Attitude Era, I'd like to beg.
He was the second, because I think your number 1 is the guy.
Speaking of,
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Favorite wrestler, hands down.
He's your guy. Like, just how Sean's mine,
yeah,
he's your guy.
Exactly. Austin is just the guy where, you believe everything that the guy did. Every single thing. In a scripted world, if someone can make you suspend disbelief and believe in everything that they're doing, that's saying something. Everything that Austin did just had that much more attitude, had that much more aggression. You could see the guy just come to the ring and stun 50 people and it never gets old. It's...
Or even he doesn't even have to cut a promo. He can just walk into an arena, pop, instinct. And it's even from like fans now that it's like they're going up with like the Seth Rollins and the Roman Reigns and the who's
AJ Styles,
Samoa Joe's, like all these guys now. But they'll always know once you hear that glass break. No, that's the guy you will always remember. That's the guy. Why I'm here in this seat or watching on TV, why I'm watching this. It's because of him. Because honestly, even when he left the WWE multiple times, like, he was still around. You could see him in movies, TV shows. Oh, that's Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, no one forgets him. Even people who don't even watch wrestling. Oh, dude, that's Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's the guy who kicked his boss's ass. That's the guy who freaking, like, threw a championship belt in a river, who drove a beer truck into an arena. His name is so synonymous with and without wrestling.
The best part is that a lot of times, if he doesn't make a WrestleMania appearance, people go, on his podcast and they ask questions. Austin, why weren't you at Mania? And he says, the show doesn't need to be about Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's like, I don't want to take away 10, 15 minutes away from the talent who right now is on the road up and down, scratching and clawing, trying to get a spot. I don't need to be there.
Like, it doesn't have to be me.
Yeah. And it's like, that is so humbling of him to say that. The fact that he wants to give the push to the current crop and say, go. Yeah, very admirable. Has the guy done one or two things or a couple things wrong in life? Of course he has. Everyone has. But I don't think you can deny that Austin, took the Attitude Era in sports entertainment to a whole new level.
Like, I think if it, like, there is that whole thing on Raw 25 where Vince is like, oh, I didn't need anybody to do this. I did this. This was me. I created all this. No, you didn't. You needed him much as he needed you. Like, Vince needed Austin. Austin needed Vince. They both, I think when they first met, like, even Austin was like, hey, I'm going to his house. I'm meeting up with him. I have this persona I want to run by him. Is it going to work? And even then, Vince is like, okay, it could work, but we got to do this with it. We got to mold it like this. You have to, like, I think at one point, even Vince told him, like, you have to do this. You have to sell it to them, not to me. You have to show them that this is what they're getting.
Not to repel off of other people's agony or anxiety, but a lot of people say Montreal's screw job is what pushed Vince up, and then Austin was right there, and it was the perfect marriage for the two.
Because it's like, okay, Austin pushed himself super high before that a year ago.
But he didn't have that perfect opponent to go up against.
Exactly. But the thing is, he didn't have it because they were still building around Shawn and Undertaker and Bret.
And Rock and
everybody else.
Very developmental period that time where people were finding their
niche and who they are. And the thing with Austin, it's like, Owen Hart got him over. But it's like, okay, he's right here. He has the Intercontinental Championship. It's 97. Like, everyone's doing the middle fingers. Everyone's wearing Austin 316 shirts. They don't give a damn about Shawn and Bret as much anymore. Bret's leaving. He needed somebody. Vince not knowing what was going to become of his company that night. I have to do this. I have to screw Bret over. And I have to start acting like this asshole boss. I have to be the man. I have to show the ruthless aggression. Oh, there's always a counterpart to that. There's always someone, no, I'm not going to listen to you. No, I'm not going to do what you say. No, I'm not going to be your guy. I'm going to be me. And that was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, you're right. They are the perfect marriage of as far as boss and employee.
Yeah.
And I think if they weren't there for each other, WWE wouldn't be as big as it is now.
Yeah.
Or lasted as long. Because honestly, if WCW didn't do what it did synonymously by like announcing that Mick Foley was going to win, I think if they had listened to what they were doing with Eric and Hogan, and at least at one point, like, all right, we're going to stop with all this NWO shit, but we're still going to be a dominant force. We're going to start stealing talent from WWE, developing them right. I think WWE would have been done.
Yeah.
But, of course, Eric shot himself in the foot on purpose.
So
I think, honestly, like, with your list, those are all people who did deserve it. Who do deserve it now. Who knows? Like, maybe at the end of this year, like, if we want, I say we'll hang on to these. In December, we'll do an episode we review. Okay, how far does Cesaro really go? How far did Ruby go? How far did Braun go?
Yep.
And if Dean's still there, how far did we keep him? What did we give him to stay? I don't know. What happened to R-Truth? You never know. I'm just saying.
Well, we'll have to see. We still got months until then. So there you go, guys. We just went through a list of the push or non-push trivia game. Let us know what you guys think in the comments section below, and we will see you all next time.